say during the anthem. Aw. Little girl.
Welcome inside the Campus Recreation Wellness Center for tonight's basketball doubleheader. The Durham Lords will take on the George Brown Huskies. In our first matchup, as the girls are getting announced now, the 1-4 Lords will take on the 6-0 Huskies. Durham coming into this game after convincing 79-60 victory over St. Lawrence here on Thursday night. George Brown enters this game on a 6-game winning streak, undefeated for the season. They most recently drubbed Seneca 74-54 at home. Joey Chapman, John Lodge with you for both of these exciting basketball games tonight. John, it's going to be good to see the Lords taking on this highly ranked Huskies team in a game at home that really means a lot early in the season.
Yeah, man, it definitely does. This is a test for sure for our Lords women out there tonight. It's going to be a game where they're going to have to be intense on the defensive side. I heard you say, though, that we're in the CRWC. We need to nickname this place the Sauna.
The Sauna is not a bad name for it, Johnny. It is hot and toasty up here, even though we're hitting winter weather up here at the top of the gym in the Caperness Media Gondola. With us talking away up here, it gets awfully warm.
Yeah, man, we're spewing a lot of hot air, so it's expected.
Starting lineup for the visiting George Brown Huskies. April DeYus is going to be starting, as well as number 6, Crystal Ann Alento, Kiana Romaldo, Ashley McDonald, and Tiana Sullivan round out the starting 5 for the Huskies. For the Lords, Maddie Dender, Dakota Kirby, Caitlin Crookshank, Emily Chamberlain, and Alyssa Navarro are your starting 5.
It's interesting, Joey. I was talking to you before the game, and I said I'd love to see Navarro get the start, and it seems like Coach just went ahead and did just that.
Coach, paying attention to you. Victoria Brodie starting on the bench. Alicia Navarro getting her spot at guard to start off this game. The Huskies send a ball up there. That is Grimaldo for the Huskies. We mentioned it early, John. This Huskies team 6-0 on the year. It'll be a very tough matchup here for the Lords. Huskies are the 4th ranked team in the province. The Lords at 8th, and a win here at home against a team ranked so much higher than them in the league, John. You can do an awful lot to move yourself up the standings here as we end the near of November.
Yeah, it would be really good to see the Lords hand these Huskies their first loss. We got some really good defense for the start of this game, but both teams unable to score until just now when the Huskies put up a long 2-pointer. And like I had said, it's going to be a test on defense, and it seems like both teams are playing well.
For sure, John, that was Ashley McDonald getting the first baskets of the game for either team as that play's broken up there under the rim. A very nice play. Lento getting involved defensively here.
Talking about how hot it is in here, and we got Louis the Lord walking around in his full garb. Do not envy him.
Louis the Lord. I don't think we had that information in our last broadcast, buddy. I did not know his name was Louis the Lord.
I heard someone at the stats table call him that, so we're going to stick with it.
We're going with that. I like it. As second year Durham college student myself, had no idea the nickname for our mascot was Louis. That shows how much civic pride I have. Here is Navarro. She kicks it over to Crookshank. Crookshank back to Chamberlain as we got some height on the court for the Lords to start this game, John. Having both Crookshank and Chamberlain on the court, both of them at least 5'9", Chamberlain at 5'11". The only other height on the bench for the Lords is Keisha Arthurworthy, who we're going to see a lot of as this game goes on, as the Lords try and add some size underneath the rim to start this game.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. The Lords need to be tighter on that outside perimeter. That's the second shot that the Huskies have been able to make from out there, on practically unguarded.
Yeah, Ashley McDonald again there, John, makes her second basket of the game. And it's pretty much identical spots left all alone there as the Lords are going to look. They tighten up defensively.
As I see my buddy John Townsend there, he actually comes on the Jake and John show every Friday to do a basketball segment. Doesn't seem like he was too enthused, though, as he packed up his bags and left already. Sorry, I had to bring that up. It's just interesting. I'll have to call him out for that on the show tomorrow.
Let him know. That ball is out of bounds on the Huskies, and the Lords are going to take over here. Crookshank going to throw the ball in for the Lords. This George Brown team, John, a big turnaround from last year, 6-0 to start the year. Last year they finished with only 6 wins on the year, going 6-11 in 17 games on the season.
They definitely got their act together then, and having already matched their entire win total from a season ago, and not having any losses. It'll be big for Durham here to hand them their first one in the L column.
Shot clock winds down here. And Tiana Sullivan gets herself on the board, the fourth-year player out of Toronto.
3 minutes in, man, and you're already seeing why the Huskies haven't lost a game yet. The Lords have failed to even put a point up on the board.
Yeah, tough defense here as the Lords have struggled to find any momentum offensively, John, as Dakota Kirby makes an ill-advised shot there. Didn't really come close, and the Lords still struggling to find a way to put their first points on the board early in this game. The Huskies are led by Tiana Sullivan with an impressive 17.7 points per game, John. And we've already seen Ashley McDonald, who just is 5th out of the starters, only 7.8 points a game as she sends up another one there. And that one's going to miss, John. But when you look at this Huskies offense, they score from everywhere. And they have a lot of players who are able to put the ball in the basket. And they like to spread their minutes around. And it certainly worked out for them so far this season, having 2 players over double digits in average points per game and 3 more over 5 as they look to spread the love here offensively early, as we see El Dento drive the basket there and get more points on the board for the Huskies, as the Lords are going to be forced to call a timeout here early, John. At just the 6:29 mark of the first quarter, the Lords forced to call a timeout after an opening 8-0 run by this Huskies offense.
Yeah, I was talking with Coach LaFontaine before the game, and she had expressed to me how this was going to be a measuring stick contest, and it's important seeing as the Huskies are undefeated. She knew going into it this was going to be a tough contest, and she cannot be happy with her squad right now.
No, you never like to fall to an 8-0 lead early, John, let alone to the #1 ranked team in the division, an undefeated team who's feeling confident coming into this game. Haven't really struggled all season long, John. Their closest game was a 87-64 victory over Centennial, as they've been at or over 75 points in almost every game. The only time they failed to breach the 75-point marker was in their last game on the 17th against Seneca, where they only won by 20, 74-54.
And I'm looking at the percentages here from the Huskies, and you can see why they are a high-scoring offense. They have 4 players over 35% from range, from three-point range, and that's going to be key for the Lords to make sure that they don't get too active behind the arc.
For sure, as Smith sends up this free throw, and that goes in As it's now 9-0 for the Huskies as they continue to play difficult defense. Navarro makes her way up the court. Dender goes to the basket hard, looking for a call there. But the 5'2" Maddie Dender did not get the call as she bounced off the Huskies defender. And didn't get the call, and the basket didn't fall either, and the Huskies are back up the court the other way, working hard down low. And that's going to be a foul on the Lords. Oh, offensive foul on the Huskies, excuse me, John.
Yeah, that was a weak play there by Chamberlain underneath the net, and she's hitting the bench. She held the ball up high over her head and was looking up court for a pass. If you're looking around, maybe hold the ball in closer to your chest so it's harder to knock away. It was an easy steal by the Huskies, and got lucky there with the offensive foul, but once again, another weak play by the Lords, gets it stolen again. Huskies are playing sticky defense right now.
For sure, John, and not unsurprisingly, Victoria Brodie, who's second on the team in average points per game, over 15, checks into the game here as the Lords trying to find some early offense, but maybe they need to work on their defense here as they're currently down 13-0, and it's been some easy baskets early for this Huskies offense.
Dender finally got a call there. She's been driving into the defense, trying to get a call, trying to get herself to the line. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to. She gets her first foul called. She gets the first foul called in her direction, and the Lords will get a side out of bounds here. But yeah, I agree with you. They need to focus on that defense. The offense will come. But if the Huskies are going to play sticky defense and be one-on-one as opposed to a zone defense, then the Lords maybe need to match that.
Maddie Dender's so good in Friday night's game against St. Lawrence, John. Had 25 points, 10 from 21 from the field, 4 from 9 from 3. And there are the Lords.
Arthurworthy.
Getting on the board is Arthurworthy, another sub into this game. Gets her body in there down low. And I expect to see a lot of that from Arthurworthy. The Lords really trying to change up their offense here. Try and get themselves offensively into this game. Huskies kick this ball around as it's moved to Sullivan in the corner. She sends up a deep three, but that just clanks out, John. And it's going to be out of bounds, Lord's ball.
Yeah, she was wide open from three there, and I think that's what the Huskies are trying to do. They're trying to open up the three-point shot, and the Lords need to be very cautious of that. As you see, they're kind of doubling up here and not trying to give away where they're going to inbound the ball, and that's been an issue early on. Kind of telegraphing their plays and making it too easy for the Huskies to defend.
Arthurworthy gets the ball, she kicks it over to Kirby. Kirby lets that ball go, but fails to find the rim as Arthurworthy with a big offensive rebound kicks it back out for three, and Caitlin Crookshank nails a dagger three. A couple bounces off the rim, but gets it to fall, and the Lords cut the lead to 8. Back the other way are the Huskies. Here's Evangelista, who turns this ball over. Dender gets it now. Dender drives the basket hard, gets...
Oh, no call?
Down.
Are you kidding me? No call on that play, ref?
That's awfully surprising there as Dender looked to draw a lot of contact there, but no call as Evangelista hung strong underneath the basket. A little 5'2" going up against 5'4" there, John. The referee decides to keep the whistle in his pocket. Kick back out here for the Huskies as that ball is sent over the net by Evangelista. And Brodie picks it up and goes down the other way. Brodie trying to drive the basket. She kicks it out. Deflected there by the Huskies, but the Lords recover. Arthurworthy to Dender. Dender from three. Dender clanks that one off the rim, but Arthurworthy with a big offensive rebound there. Kirby back to Brodie. Brodie sends up the two, but that clanks off the rim as the Lords struggling from this 12 to 15 foot range, John. They clank a couple out there on that offensive opportunity.
Yeah, their mid-range game's a little weak right now. Another great steal there, though, by
Crookshank.
By Crookshank. Thank you for saving me there.
I got you, buddy.
And a great basket there by Dakota Kirby. It's going to be important. The Lords seem to have weathered the first big burst here by the Huskies and are making their way back, playing stronger defense and not going for low percentage shots.
Yeah, after 11-0 run for the Huskies, the Lords have answered back on a 9-2 run here. 3 minutes left in this first quarter. Have cut this lead down to 4 as the defense picks up here. Another interception. Brodie comes in all alone and gets that easy layup to fall, cutting the lead to 2, John. And all of a sudden, the Lords defense has really picked up here, and a little bit of momentum coming for the Durham Lords.
Yeah, they got their back up there a little bit. I think Coach called the timeout and was not happy with the effort that the Lords were giving us here, putting out on the court. So I think they got their backs up, and their pride took a little bit of a hit there, and maybe they responded there.
Whatever Coach LaFontaine said at that timeout, John, has certainly worked as the Lords have turned it around here, getting themselves right back into this game at 11. Last year, John, these two teams faced off twice. The Lords defeated the Huskies 70-57 almost a year ago today on November 18th. So just 3 days off. As I realize I've been writing the date wrong all day, thinking today was the 16th. So I apologize to Anna Rodriguez for putting in the wrong date on our assignment. Me and John finished just over an hour ago.
Hope you don't get late marks.
Yeah, we'll see. The email didn't go through, so she knows about it. The other matchup was a Husky victory as they responded 92-80 to defeat the Lords at St. George, or George Brown, excuse me, on January 13th. Dakota Kirby in that game played 32 minutes, only had 12 points. She was the only starter for the Lords tonight that was a starter back on that January night. After the timeout, the Huskies have the ball here. They kick it around. Here's DeZeus. She hangs onto it, kicks it over to Beltran, but that unable to find the basket there. As a big rebound by Kirby as that ball sent way too
strong.
long. As Emily Glendenning, the Plattsville, Ontario native, getting some early playing time in this game, John. Something we didn't see a lot of on Friday night. We didn't see Glendenning at all, really, as she was, I believe she was an injury.
I think we forgot what sport we were playing with that pass. It looked more like a shot put or a javelin throw.
As we see Glendenning wearing the knee brace. It's good to see her back out there. But George Brown answers there as Marissa Moore drains a corner three. She comes in off the bench as the Huskies bench try and answer what the Lords have done so effectively in these last few minutes.
Yeah, we're seeing that three ball become more prominent in their in the Huskies offense. So, you know, like I had said before, the inside play was just to set up their outside play. You can tell that just by looking at their numbers, man.
Crookshank moves this into Arthur Worley. Arthur Worley tries to get the layup to go, but that clanks out, and the Huskies come back up the court. Here's the use. And a turnover there is a nice play by Dakota Kirby to force the steal. Kirby comes back up, tries to get the quick shot to fall. It's another mid-range jumper from the Lords. Fails to get into the basket.
Yeah, they just haven't gotten their touch so far this game. The easy baskets aren't going in for them. I think they're overthinking their shots. They just need to calm their minds and just play the game that they know how to play.
Very uncharacteristic of Dakota Kirby, John, as we've seen her be so effective all season long for the Lords. As Huskies come back up the other way here. The ball kicked into the corner for Beltran. Beltran hangs onto it, looking for help. Kirby all over here. It's Kirby's good defense, but Beltran finds a way to get the ball off. And underneath the basket there is Cheryl Wilson, number 10, finding a way to put away the garbage. 18-11 the score now. Victoria Brodie with the ball. She kicks it inside to Glendenning. Glendenning back to Brodie, but that ball is intercepted by DeLuz as she continues to be all over the court here, John, so far early in this first quarter.
This is going to be a game of runs, I feel. Like we had talked about, the Huskies went on an 11-0 run, and then the Lords went on a 9-2 run, and now we're on a 5-0 run, and the Huskies look like they're going back to the line here. So.
Yeah, John, it's certainly been the case so far early in this first quarter, and we see that a lot in basketball, not just in the women's game, but also in the men's game. Big runs going either way, but when the Lords are most effective, John, defensively, they do a good job at stopping the opposing team from going on those runs and capitalizing on their solid defense and their ability to force turnovers that we've seen so far through the season and turning those into easy points the other way.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing from this George Brown team is that's a horrible inbound there leads to another offensive opportunity for George Brown. George Brown's form, the way they're shooting form is fantastic compared to some of the other teams that we've seen so far this season.
As Glendenning fights for that ball underneath the rim, and she's going to shoot two here. Glendenning getting herself involved. As you mentioned it when you were talking there, John, after just a horrendous inbound attempt by the Lords, giving the ball right away to Deus, who just missed the three there, but they're going to have to be a lot more responsible with the ball, especially when you're down by 9 as they are now.
Yeah, a lot of those shot put style long range passes are coming out of the inbound, and that's strictly because George Brown is playing such good defense on their on the inbound. So you got to kind of stretch it out. It's going to be something the Lords are going to have to work on this entire game. This is not going to go away, and as we can tell, 8 points down, this is not going to be an easy contest at all.
A nice pass there by Deus. Looking for Marissa Moore underneath the basket. Moore can't find a way to get it to go, but Deus with a beautiful pass to find her. This ball kicked out to Chamberlain. Lots of time for a three, and she makes it. Glendenning, excuse me, not Chamberlain. Emily Glendenning for three.
Long two, actually, the refs call.
Excuse me, John, thank you. Glendenning must have taken a step inside the three-point line there.
I think it was just a toe, really, on the line, man. Just a bad situation there for the Lords. You'd like to have that three ball.
As Moore clanks that ball off, looked like it might have been blocked by a
Got her own rebound, too.
Uncontested there, John, as the Lords are going to have to be stronger underneath the rim. As Moore finds a way to easily make her way back. But Victoria Brodie.
Huge three there to end the buzzer.
Three to end the first quarter, cutting the Huskies' lead to just 5. Is going into the first break of the game. The Lords trailing the Huskies 22-17. Victoria Brodie getting her name on the board in the very last seconds of this first quarter, nailing a dagger three.
Yeah, that was nice. She took that into her own hands. That was kind of an ISO play there. And that may be how the Lords are going to have to work this. They're going to have to get the ball into the hands of their trusted shooters because George Brown is definitely not respecting the shooting prowess of the lesser percentage shooters of the Lords. So just get it in the hands of your ISO ball players and try and get this lead down and erase it completely.
Overall for the Lords, I think they're going to be pretty happy with the way they clawed back in that period, John, or in that quarter, on absolutely horrendous start, unable to find anything offensively through the first few minutes, giving easy plays away defensively, but they really turned it around after Coach LaFontaine called that timeout, found themselves on a good run, and now they're down by 5 here. What do you think they need to do better moving forward?
They just need to be more consistent with their defense and with their passes, man. They're not taking the time, or they weren't at least taking the time early in that first quarter to make good passes and smart passes, man. They're trying to play a fast-paced game, just like George Brown, and I don't think that's the Lord's game. I think that George Brown is getting them out of it, out of their strong play, and trying to make them play the way that they're used to playing. And that, when you try to mimic the other team, that's never the best option, man. You just got to go with what you know.
Seems to make a lot of sense, John. As for the Huskies, a bright spot for them has been Deus. April Deus has been real solid for them. Scary thought for the Lords. The leading points per game player for the Huskies, Tiana Sullivan, awfully quiet in that first quarter. We didn't say a lot of number 15's name. She's still on the bench, but
as you brought up Deus, she stole the inbound again because they went for the lob over the head, and George Brown is a faster team than Durham, so they're going to be able to get to that lob before we do. You need to throw a little bit more misdirection in on these inbounds, move around a little bit more. You've got 5 seconds to inbound it. Use the 5 seconds and get this right, because these turnovers, they're going to kill you.
And especially on a player like Deus, John, the only fifth-year player in this game, got more experience and has seen more than anybody else on the court. You're going to have to do more than just throw the ball by her. And the Lords are learning that lesson here early in this game. Another out of bounds there, that time on the Lords. It's going to be a Husky throw in here as a slow pace to begin this second quarter. All Huskies.
Clock is short, though, so they're going to have to get a shot up quick.
Kicked out to Sullivan. Sullivan still has it. Sullivan, good defense there from Victoria Brodie to block her out, but the Lords give the ball away there as Glenn Denning gave the ball away as Deus nails
What a mistake. What a mistake. She gave her way too much room to make that shot.
As Gallimore gets that ball, but steps out of bounds with it. And the Lords struggling here to begin this second quarter, John, and not helped out at all by the stone-cold hands of April Deus, who's making them pay on both ends of the court.
Yeah, she's definitely the bright spot here for the Huskies. The bright spot of a bunch of bright spots. Let me just say the whole team is playing well, and they're all doing their own roles, right? They're all playing their roles. No one is trying to do one thing too many, or too many things, I should say. So, I just said you don't want to follow the other team's game plan because that's how you get out of it. But you can mimic it in the way of do your job, and that's one of the things that our favorite team, the Patriots, are famous for. Everybody just do your job, and if you're able to do that, then you work better as a cohesive unit.
For sure, John, and they've been helped out a lot by these turnovers from the Lords early. It's a lot easier to do your job when the other team's giving you the ball in good offensive positions. And for the Lords, that's going to be something they're really going to want to work on. Moving forward here is just the easy plays defensively that they're giving up and allowing this undefeated Huskies team to have easy opportunities like that fast break there. And after I mentioned we didn't say her name a lot in the first quarter, Sullivan's come back on the court and been a pretty dominant force here, John. As the Lords on offense here. Here's Kirby, tries to get the layup to go, can't get it to fall. Gallimore with a nice rebound, but unable to get it there are the Lords as they come up the other way. As Sullivan drives the basket hard, gets the foul and one. And Kiana Sullivan, after coming off the bench just a few minutes into this quarter, making her presence known, and she's going to step to the line for two. So,
Tiana Sullivan, 3 for 6 in the first quarter for 7 points. She's been key in this one for sure.
Sullivan, a very good free throw shooter, John, averaging 58% from the line all season long.
Yeah, we, speaking about April Deus, though, she had 4 steals in the first quarter, Joey. Sometimes it's a good game for you if you get 4 or 5 steals in a game, let alone a quarter. I want to see the Lords put more speed, more sauce on those inbounds, Stop lobbing it and start firing it in there. I would rather see it bounce off of your hands and go to them than to see you throw it over top of your own player's head and get outraced to the ball.
Get a little more aggressive with those passes for sure. Certainly can't hurt here, John, as they've started this quarter. Another run for the Huskies as they found themselves on a 7-1 run here to start this second quarter as Deus just lips out, and this hard-pressed defensive attack for the Huskies continues as they're not letting the Lords do anything easy off the throw-ins, and they force another turnover there. After getting it past the center line there, John, the Lords really struggling to get past this defensive wall that is the George Brown Huskies.
Yeah, the Lords have scored 1 point since in the second quarter so far, and we're 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the quarter. That's never a recipe for success, especially since George Brown has managed 9.
Yeah, extending their lead to 13 as Deus sends up another 3. That one is going to miss everything for the air ball. But so far early here, John, just the way that they're forcing turnovers are these Huskies. They've given themselves a lot more opportunities on the offensive side of the court.
Yeah, they were working a 4-2 right there. 4 on the defensive side for the Huskies, and only 2 deep. So they see what the Lords are trying to do, and they really don't care about those long passes because the accuracy isn't there. They're sticking to their tight defense on those inbounds, and it's working for them.
No, the Lords have not made them beat them at their own game yet, John. They haven't found a way to open up the court and extend and really stretch out the defenders for the Huskies, who are more than happy to stand right in front of whoever it is on the throw-in and get right in her way as Gallimore steps up and makes the first free throw there. Only the second point of the quarter for the Lords. She sends up her second one. She makes it. So here at Gallimore, 2 for 2 at the line there. Huskies come back up the court. Here's Sullivan with it. Hard defense there by Cruikshank, and she's going to get called for the foul as her and Sullivan collided there just past the half-court mark.
I think the Lords maybe need to do a little bit more of that because you know, you'll take the foul, but you'll also put it in the mind of George Brown that, you know, you're not going to be an easy game, and if they're going to dominate, or if they're going to dominate on the scoreboard, then they're going to make it tough physically for them.
Certainly, John. You want to try and make the other team earn it no matter what. They're going to get a throw in here. Ashley McDonald looks for an option, finds Deus with it. She kicks it over to Grimaldo. Grimaldo back to, that's Grimaldo with it. She turns, tries to get that ball up, but good defense there by the Lords. Turned over by Durham as Gallimore unable to hang on to it for that offensive rebound. And a deep two ball there coming from Ashley McDonald. She continues her strong play here so far tonight. Lords back on the offense with the ball. Here is Dender. Dender tries to make a move, kicks it back out to Cruikshank.
We haven't really said her name that much, eh? Dender?
No, not since midway through that first quarter. Got a three ball there by Emily Glendenning. Makes a dagger three as the Lords now trail by 10. Have not said Maddie Dender, Alicia Navarro's names very often, nor have we said the names of Dakota Kirby or Victoria Brodie very much, John. And those are the big four for this Lords team, as we've seen all season long. And with those four struggling offensively and struggling to find points, the Lords could be in for a long night here as another turnover. And the Huskies find a way to turn that into points as Tiana Sullivan going to put that away. And the Huskies defense really causing problem here for the Lords as Dender takes a step back three. That clanks off. O'Sullivan gets the rebound. She makes her way up the court. Sullivan moves it over to Elnato. A deep shot there from McDonald. That one she can't get to fall. And Glendenning has her way back with it. She moves it over to Alicia Navarro. Navarro dribbles back, looks for Glendenning. Glendenning kicks it over to Gallimore. Gallimore has it now. She kicks it back to Cruikshank. Cruikshank over to Navarro, back to Cruikshank. Here is Gallimore with it. Gallimore to Glendenning. 1 second left on the shot clock, and that's going to be a shot clock violation there on the Lords, John.
Yeah,
they're really struggling to find their game here.
They couldn't get an open shot at all, and you can credit the Huskies defense for that, because that was fantastic textbook defense by them. Unable to, or like just playing man on man, and a little bit of zone mixed in there as well. So it's awesome to see, but you kind of wish you'd see it from your home side.
Yeah, for the Lords, it's tough. They couldn't get anything inside a dangerous area there. All those passes outside the three-point area, and the Huskies, I'm sure, are going to be happy to let the Lords pass the ball all they want around out there and dare them to make a three with a hand in their face as the Huskies go back up the court there and make two. And this lead is now 40-23 for the Huskies, as this game has really gotten away from the Lords in this second quarter, John.
Yeah, this is looking like an ugly contest here for the Durham Lords, and Coach LaFontaine is going to have quite the conversation, I believe, at halftime for the Lords. You know, if I were to tell you before the game that we had 3 3-pointers made by the Lords, and only one of them was by Victoria Brodie, none by Maddie Dender, and we had Caitlin Cruikshank and Emily Glendenning with one, you'd probably look at me and be like, what the heck are you talking about, man? That's not possible. But that's exactly what's happening right now. The Huskies know that the Lords have a big three, and they're keying in on them and forcing them to use everybody else, and unfortunately, they're just not as talented.
Certainly does not help that the Huskies have played so strong defensively here, John. Really doing an excellent job at shutting down the big 3-4 for the Lords. There's another foul there. It's going to be Husky ball, I believe. Oh, the Lords are going to shoot two, excuse me. There's a bit of confusion from the referees. And both teams so far, John, not getting themselves into foul trouble, but that could change. 4:25 remaining in the second quarter. Both teams now at 3 fouls. As Kirby makes her first from the line. I think a big difference in tonight's game as opposed to Friday's game, John, is just the way Dakota Kirby was able to carry the ball up the court on Friday and spread it out and allowed to be a real point guard, getting everybody else involved. The Huskies have said had none of that all night long, really not letting the Lords do anything they want offensively. As the Huskies come back up the other way here, a bit of a mispass by Evangelista.
That was way better defense there by the Lords.
Dender is the player back to make the play. She gets the ball now at the top of the three-point line. She kicks it into Gallimore. Gallimore, that pass is deflected by Sullivan. And the Huskies, stop me if you've heard this before, John, are back the other way. Double dribble called by Sullivan. She tries to get a little too cute there at midcourt. And
yeah,
the Lords are going to get the ball back.
I'd like to see a little bit of misdirection here from the Lords. Like I said earlier, that pass was kind of the only pass she had. But if you fake her out, fake the pass, and I'm pantomiming like people can see us, but fake the pass, pull it back, wait for her to jump up in the air, and then pass it beside her or underneath her when she's in the air, it'll be much easier for you to get it over her, especially when you got a big defender like that on you.
We're going to try and get the big players to move a little bit as Dender comes in here looking for a layup, but that shot is blocked by McDonald. As the Lords continue to struggle here as a 3-ball sent up, deflected off the rim. A nice battle underneath the rim by Glendenning, moves it over, and the Lords come back. Victoria Brodie misses the layup there. Navarro has that ball hit off her hands. And it's going to be out of bounds on the Lords. Huskies ball, as it looks like the Lords have gone to a bit of a shooting lineup here, John.
Yeah, they've gone small.
Yeah, Navarro, Kirby, Brodie, and Dender all on the court for the Lords. Really, Glendenning, the only height they have at 5'10" on the court.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
They're really trying to find something, to get something going here offensively.
I think they're trying to match those George Brown Huskies, man. They're trying to match their speed with their own speed, but the Lords just don't have that sort of, that kind of game plan. They're a control sort of team, and unfortunately, the Huskies aren't giving them any room.
No, I guess if you're Coach LaFontaine, you're thinking I gotta make a couple threes and a couple improbable shots here, trying to find a way to get some stops defensively and just slowly claw back into this game. We know the Lords can do it, John. They went themselves on a 9-0, 9-1 run in the first quarter, just have not been able to do anything remotely to copying that or replicating that here in this quarter. As George Brown comes away with another steal and makes her way, but Brodie makes a nice play herself to steal it back. Brodie to Dender. Dender from 3. Dender makes it, and Brodie and Dender hook up there for a wide open look from Dender. Probably the most wide open look the Lords had all night long. But a bit of a defensive breakdown here, coming back the other way.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have no size and you put a small lineup in there, the paint is virtually unprotected.
Dender misses that lay-in, but a solid work below the offensive rim by Emily Glendenning, John. And she finds a way to get the Lords 2 points there. Huskies come back up. Long cross-court pass for El Tono.
Something's going on with Dender there. I think she's gassed. I think she needs to get out.
We saw
yeah,
Dender
she's
limping.
gassed.
Yeah, she's talking to the coach there. She's feeling it a little bit. We saw Dender leave the game on Friday night with an injury. Come back looking no worse for wear as she takes that lead pass. And it seems to be out of breath here as she's struggling to make her way back up the court. The Huskies unrelenting here as Sullivan comes in and misses that right-hand hook. But a nice rebound again as Glendenning continues to do it on both sides of the court. And she's been one of the lone bright spots for the Lords here so far tonight as Brodie jacks a 3, and that one's a good ball length short as the Lords trail by 15, 1:30 left on the clock here in the second quarter.
Dender's doubled over, heading
Looks
to
like
the trainer's bench, and she looks like she's got an abdominal injury.
maybe a cramp or something, John. You don't want to speculate, but she looks to be in a little bit of pain here. But she's going to try and make her way to an athletic trainer table.
Yeah, it looks like here comes the vomit. Fortunately for those who don't want to know that, yeah, that's an issue. So hopefully she'll be okay. But that comes with trying to play with such a fast-paced offense, man. You try to keep up, and your body just isn't used to that.
As Moore makes a shot there for the Huskies. Brodie comes back the other way.
And see, Brodie gets it there. She faked out the pass there, like she was going inside, and that got the defense moving. And then they were wide open. It was a bad shot from three. It was a bad shot from three by Kirby, but it opened up the offense, and they're going to need to do more of that.
I would not be surprised at all to see the Lords try and do more from beyond the arc as they try and claw back here, down by 18. Kirby comes back out the other way. 40 seconds left. Kirby to Navarro, and a nice pass there, as that's really the first time we've seen Kirby with good ball movement all night, as she uses her speed and finds Navarro for an easy two underneath the rim. Huskies come back the other way. Here is Sullivan. Sullivan over to Deus. Deus with a long cross-court pass. That three is jacked up there, but just missing it is Marissa Moore, and Huskies come back the other way. 13 seconds on the clock. A little tic-tac-toe pass there, finds Brodie. Brodie sent all the way back out to Glendenning, who makes a deep three as Emily Glendenning makes that shot from Ajax. And the Lords will take a 13-point deficit into halftime, trailing 49-36. As they really have struggled in that second quarter, John.
Yeah, that was a much stronger end to the quarter, though. You seen them start to adjust a little bit to the Huskies game, and we're able to be more successful on the offensive end, and it's going to be key for the Lords to continue this throughout third and fourth quarter.
Defensive adjustments going to be the name of the game here at halftime. The Huskies look to continue and build on a 49-point first half. The Lords try and cut into a 13-point deficit. John and I will be right back in about 14 minutes time for the beginning of the third quarter. We'll be right back. Welcome back inside the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center here in beautiful North Oshawa. As always, Joey Chapman, John Lodge with you. Durham Lords taking on the I want to say St. George, I don't know why, the George Brown Huskies. And John, after a competitive first quarter, the Huskies found a way to pull away in that second and have found themselves up 49-36 as we're just about to start this second half.
Yeah, man, I had a conversation with Coach LaFontaine, as I was just telling you, and she knows very well, as I was telling her, the pace of play is killing them tonight. The George Brown Huskies are definitely outrunning them, as well as those very bad inbound lob passes. So hopefully, she told me they talked about that, so hopefully we'll see a change coming out of this break here, coming out of halftime, and we'll see a little bit more cohesiveness, some faster, some more tighter passes as opposed to trying to outrun the Huskies, because as we've seen with Dender, who had to take a break there in the end, she wasn't feeling very well. It's just she overworked herself, right? So hopefully we can get a more, the word I'm looking for, a more control-based game for the Lords, because that's when they're at their best.
For sure, John, and those lob passes turned into turnovers, and that's really the stat that sticks out to me most at halftime. 23 points for the George Brown Huskies, John, off of turnovers, while just 9 for the Lords, and that's really the difference in this game. As the Huskies were able to force the turnovers, the Lords not so much, as they try and fight off the Huskies here and mount a comeback against this undefeated Huskies team. We're underway here in the second quarter. Kirby has the ball. Kirby quickly moves it up to Navarro. Navarro cuts in, trying to find Chamberlain, but unable to do so there, as the Huskies come back up the other way. And Sullivan gets her first 2 points of the half. She really was a standout in the first for the Huskies, John. Tiana Sullivan, 17 points in that first half. That's her first 2, as she's at 19 now.
Lords got away with a double dribble there. I don't know how the ref didn't see that one. Yikes. They turned the ball over anyway, and I'm not trying to out my own squad here or my hometown team, but yeah.
Their struggles certainly continuing early in this third quarter, John, as Deus sends that one ball way up, and she fails to capitalize on that. Deus, 2 from 6 from the field, 1 from 2 from the line, or from beyond the arc, and 2 for 2 from the field. Her offensive stats may not be the most impressive, John, but 5 steals in that first half, 4 in the first quarter, as she has really been a bright spot defensively for this George Brown team all game long.
Yeah, she had 5 steals, and the team had 12 steals in the first half. So when you've got 40% of your team steals, you're having a pretty good game, I'd say.
Yeah, certainly not bad at all, as the Lords kick it around here in the offensive zone. Kirby has the ball. She kicks it inside for Chamberlain. Chamberlain back out to Dender. Dender with a long 2, can't get that to fall. The shot clock was winding down there. She had to get the ball off. Huskies back up the other way. Sullivan tries to get that to go, finds her own rebound, but loses it. Navarro comes back up for the Lords. Navarro, only 1 player to beat, takes a step and gets the layup. There's a nice play there from Alyssa Navarro.
Yeah, she went solo there. She was the only Lord in the offensive front court, so just good play there by Navarro.
Sullivan misses that one, a rare miss for Sullivan, and Navarro comes back up the other way. Navarro, really the 4th of the big 4 for the Lords, John. We see her on the court a lot, maybe not the most offensive threat, but she's come to play here so far tonight and has really been the most consistent Lord all night long, in my opinion. Kirby jacks a deep 3 there. Kirby clanks that one off the rim, but the Lords get the rebound. Dender with a deep 3, and Dender, that one misses that well, but the Lords get the ball back here. Kirby kicks it over to Crookshank, and the Lords turn the ball over there. There's a bit of a miscommunication between Navarro and Crookshank, but Dender making a nice run defensively there, looking no worse for wear after leaving the first half due to injury. We saw her on the bike. You talked to her, John. She said she was good to go, and she makes a solid play defensively there. The Lords trail 51-38. Minute and a half, 2.5 minutes into this third quarter. Joey Chapman, John Lodge with you.
Yeah, it looked like there maybe to the untrained eye, like the Lords were taking bad shots on their last possession with the couple low percentage 3-pointers. But I think they were just trying to stretch out the Huskies for future play and going forward in this game.
And I would expect to see a lot more low percentage 3-pointers, John, when you're down by quick math here by 23 or 13? 13, excuse me, 13.
13 plus 10.
13 plus, no, 13. 13.
I was just making a joke about your 23.
John, you can't confuse me. We're broadcasting students for a reason. No math. As hockey math really, or sports math really the only good math I'm good at. And the Lords cut the lead, or now have a 14-point deficit. Excuse me.
Got you all messed up now.
Sullivan makes her first of 2 at the line here. And Sullivan sends a high ball, and she goes 2 for 2. Sullivan now at 21 on the game.
Joey, what was the George Brown Huskies free throw stats the first half?
From the line, they were only 3 for 4 as a team. They did not have a lot of attempts at the line. 75%. That was one of the positives for the Lords, John. They didn't find themselves in foul trouble, and maybe they should have, considering all the points that the Huskies put up. I don't know if that says more about how well the Huskies were playing offensively or the Lords' lack of intensity defensively, but they didn't really allow the Huskies to go to the line a lot in the first half, and we'll stick to the positive. We'll say that's just solid defensive play and positioning from the Lords.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to send the Huskies to the line that much, because the point I was going to make is their form is so good from the line. 3 for 4 in the first half, 2 for 2 in the in this quarter already. So it's going to be interesting to see how that will continue. And amazing behind the back dribble there by Tiana Sullivan. They seem so much better and so much more skilled than the Lords, but that's just because of the speed of this game. The Lords are not a bad team.
No, definitely not, John. We've seen them play very well at stretches throughout the season, even in this game, but the Huskies seem to have their number as they get another 2 to fall here. Now the lead is 21.
Side out of bounds there. We got a foul called on the Huskies.
I believe that was on number 5. Deus getting the foul there. Deus, whose name I've screwed up a couple times here tonight, John.
So we got a full complement of subs coming on.
Brodie.
And with the pace of the game, this is going to be important.
Gallimore, Arthur Worthy, all coming in for the Lords. The only player staying on the court is Alicia Navarro.
This is the lineup at the end of the second quarter that had that strong pushback and was able to play better. I'm wondering if maybe Coach LaFontaine is trying to recreate that.
Go back to the well, as it would be, John, as we haven't seen a lot of future Arthur Worthy, and a 24-second clock violation there for the Lords.
It's the second one this game.
Yeah, exactly. Great minds there, John, as we're thinking the same thing. Their second 24-shot clock violation. And this new group on the floor can't find their groove offensively either, as the Lords have not been able to get a run going in a positive manner, really, since way back in the first quarter when they went on a 9-1 run, bringing the game back within striking distance. But ever since then, it's been the Huskies, and it's been all Huskies. They're not willing to let their undefeated record disappear so quickly there, as Gallimore can't find Arthur Worthy under the net. As you're shaking your head in disgust, John, as the Lords can't seem to find a way to click. And I don't know if that's all Huskies defense or just a little bit of incohesion.
Sloppy play by the Lords there. That was sloppy. That pass was way too high, and they had a chance there to get some points up on the board. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say that this team is letting me down, disappointing me right now. Because I mean, if I was out there, I wouldn't be doing anywhere near as good as them. But yeah, it's just a hard game to watch right now, especially seeing as what we're used to watching.
at home here, John. We haven't seen them lose a game yet. Their only home games, the Lords that is, were on Friday the 17th, where we've referenced a couple times where they saw them play Loyalists. Their only other game at home was their first game at home, which was against the Centennial Colts. They will be, of course, back here on Friday to take on St. Lawrence as they make their second trip to the CRWC in a week span. But right now the task at hand is this Huskies offense, and trailing 61-36 with 5:19 left in this third quarter, John. A big uphill climb for the Lords.
Huskies doing their best to make a Boston Celtics impersonation here and go on quite the streak. The Celtics on a 16-game winning streak. Huskies not quite there yet, but it's easy to imagine that they might be, considering the way they're playing. I don't know who's going to be able to stop this squad.
What's scary, John, is the Huskies only the 4th-ranked team in the OCAA. Humber, Mohawk, and Fanshawe all ranked ahead of them. The Mountaineers and the Falcons each have a loss at 6-1. Humber 7-0, and you have to think if St. George or George Brown, can find a way to get themselves to 7-0, they could easily catapult themselves into a top 3 spot in the rankings when everything's said and done after tonight.
Yeah, I think they could jump into second, actually, to be honest, as obviously being the only other team that has an undefeated record right now. It's crazy to see, you know, the Lords are a good team and they practice well, they play well cohesively as a squad, but you know, the difference in the best teams as opposed to the middle teams in the conference.
For sure, both teams tonight have playoff aspirations. That ball turned over by Navarro pretty easily there to Cheryl Wilson. And the Mississauga native finds a way to get a couple points there, and a big cheer coming from the George Brown bench as she didn't get the points, but she finds a way to get herself to the line.
Victoria Brodie needs to be careful here. She's running her mouth to the referees and running her mouth to the bench. She's going to get teed up.
Yeah, frustration certainly boiling over here from the Lords. Coach LaFontaine just telling her to calm down. As Victoria Brodie, we've seen an emotional player, a player who leaves it all out on the court, having a tough time with the Lords down 23 here. There's still lots of time in this game, only 4:47 remaining in this third quarter.
Yeah, down 24 points right now, which is more points than the Lords have been able to score in a quarter all game. This is a mounting deficit, and the Lords almost turned another one over on an inbound. They need to clean this mess up. And there goes Brodie again, yelling at the ref, refusing to give the ball.
Victoria Brodie, luckily not to get a foul there. The referee certainly understands that there's some frustration mounting from this Lord side, but I can't imagine she's going to get away with plays like that very much longer before the referees decide they've had enough of that act.
Well, what I'm worried about is she going to start playing a more physical defense? There she's
going to pick up the foul.
Yeah,
there.
She got the tee.
And a technical is Victoria Brodie. Not happy. She's going to leave the court here, it looks like.
She looks like she just got ejected.
Didn't see that sign.
Yep, she's been ejected from the game.
But Victoria Brodie ejected here with 4:29 remaining. Oh, no, now she's decided to walk back.
No, I think her coach wants to have a word.
It's a bit of a turbulent time here for Victoria Brodie, but she has untucked her jersey and is not happy with the way this game has gone. Clearly, I don't think any of the Lords are, as you hear a garbage can getting kicked there. Maddie Dender going to come over and try and calm her teammate down. Meanwhile, at the line is number 8, excuse me. That's why I can't see number 2 on the game sheet. Number 8, Tayshana Bent, getting some playing time here for the Huskies as they go deep into their bench, up 24. John, this may not be the most exciting game as the Lords trailing big here by 25 after that free throw by the Huskies.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, the story of this game is going to be Victoria Brodie.
Yeah.
On the Lord's side, and her inability to keep her cool. And this is, like you said, this isn't the first time we've seen this. So I believe this isn't the first time she's been ejected from a game either. So it's going to be interesting to be a fly on the wall to hear what Maddie Dender is saying. And Maddie does not look very happy with Victoria right now.
No, certainly emotions running high, as nobody likes to be on the losing side of a blowout, John. But coming up after this, game 2 of our doubleheader, as the Lords and the Huskies will meet up once again, this time in men's basketball. Funcho DeMeggi and the Durham Lords will take on Chris Fields and the Huskies. Tip-off is set for just after 8 o'clock, and it should be a good one, John. George Brown 7-1 on the year, Durham 6-1, and a battle of the one-loss teams in the East Division. Should be a very exciting basketball game. You will have the call for that. I will be doing the color commentary.
May have spoke too soon about the ejection. It looks like Brodie's actually still on the bench.
So gets the tee, not ejected. She continues.
As Dender pushes her back down into her chair, telling her to be quiet.
She's abusing the officials from the bench, as emotions running high here for the Lords. Good ball movement by the Huskies as they are kicking it all around this tired Lords team, and a nice play there made by number 8, Tayshawn Bent, and a first-year player, and this opportunity she's getting on the court is taking advantage as Arthur Worthy kisses that one off the glass. The Lords now at 42, just trailed by 15. Lots of time here left, John, but the Lords need to make something happening now, and they can't wait much longer.
Yeah, the Lords' tiredness, they played right into the George Brown Huskies game. Their speed is killing Durham, and you can tell by the fact that all these players are gassed. They're unable to really run the court or run back on defense on the court. Maddie Dender was trying to encourage her teammates, especially Arthur Worthy, after making that two-pointer, to get back and get back quick. But that's going to be tough because you spent the first half running after the George Brown Huskies as opposed to playing strong zone defense. You tried to play man-to-man defense, and they just outran them. It was a track meet.
Yeah, the second quarter is really where it fell apart for the Lords, John. I was trying to be a little more politically correct than that, but I think if you talk to Coach LaFontaine and any of these Lords players, they'll tell you the second quarter is where this game got away after fighting their way back in the first, unable to really do anything offensively in the second quarter, getting outscored 27-19. I guess they put up 19, John, but when the other team puts up 27 and a quarter, anything else you do defensively or offensively is going to get called into question. As Arthur Worthy makes that shot from the line, she's going to take 2 here.
We've seen the Lords hold teams to 27 points and a half.
Yeah.
So if you're giving up 27 points in a quarter, that's bad form.
Yeah, defensively, the Lords have not been there tonight, as the Huskies have really found a way to score at will so far in this game, John.
Nice block there, though,
they're
by
already
Glenn Denning.
20 points in this quarter with 2:45 left, as they need to get something going offensively through the Lords, and that's a nice start there as Dakota Kirby gets the basket and 1. So she's going to shoot here.
If I was a coach, I would be sending Brodie to the locker room. She's going to cost this team. Even on a make there with an and 1, she was yelling at the ref and whipping her sweater at him.
Do you think having Brodie around for the fourth quarter in case this team goes on a run, John, and they can use the points from one of their highest scorers outweighs the distraction, or do you think the distraction of having her on the bench right now is something that they should just get rid of and focus on the positivity?
Yeah, I think I'm on the latter side of that. I mean, unfortunately, I'd love to see our Lords come with make a comeback here and be able to make a game out of this, but if she wants to be the center of attention, they can't focus on the game.
That certainly does not help. And a player with the stature of Victoria Brodie, John, a player who's only in her second year with the Lords, but is a very key part for this team. She comes off the bench, but I really wouldn't call her a bench player. When she's on and rolling, she plays as many minutes as anybody for this team. As it looks like maybe she's calming down a little bit on the bench as her and her teammates are fooling around a little bit. The Lords trying to find a way to get back into this game, but the Huskies certainly not making it easy for them as a deep three jack there, as that was an interesting throwing motion or shooting motion from Kelsey Paxson, the second-year Whitby guard. And that unsurprisingly doesn't fall. Arthur Worthy continues her strong play under to the net, John.
Yeah, she's the hot hand for the Lords right now, and they've realized that, and they keep going to her because she's got more size than anybody on the court for George Brown. And, you know, if she throws her body around and uses that size, there's nothing they can really do with her. So, yeah, I keep feeding the big girl, keep feeding her into the post, and get those easy buckets, get those and ones, and maybe come back in this game. It's a 20-point deficit right now, so you never know. Anything's possible in this beautiful game of basketball. But, yeah, if they're going to make a comeback, it's going to be on the back of Arthur Worthy.
Arthur Worthy, only 2 points in the first half, had 2 rebounds. As she was, as you mentioned earlier, John, she did seem to be on the court for the only real Lords run offensively. But with the likes of Emily Glendenning getting back into this game and showing up tonight, Emily Chamberlain playing, it's been tough to get all 3 big players involved for the Lords.
Nice defensive play there.
A steal there from Kirby as the Lords picking it up defensively. Arthur Worthy gets that to fall, and 6'1", Arthur Worthy finds a way to really put the Lords on her back here, John, as you mentioned. And the Lords feeling a little bit of momentum here, cutting this lead down to 18 with 1:39 left in this quarter. And this game is far from over, John, as the Lords.
She's going to go to the line, too, because both teams are in the bonus.
And I neglected to mention that. I looked up at the board and meant to, as both teams in the bonus. As you correctly identified, Johnny, 5 fouls apiece, and we got all the makings of a long third quarter. But if Arthur Worthy and the Lords can find a way to get to the line and shoot some uncontested free throws, they can get themselves right back into this game as Arthur Worthy makes that first one. Arthur Worthy gets the second to fall, no problem. Keisha Arthur Worthy continues her strong play in the second half. The Lords up to 53. Back up the court here go the Huskies. Defensive rebound by Kirby, but she turns the ball over. Kick back out to Deus. Deus all the way back across the court to number 8. And that was Tayshawn Bent with another nice shot, and that's a 2-pointer from Bent. And she was a good step inside the three-point line, excuse me. Here's Kirby now with it. Kirby dribbles the ball, tries to drive the lane. Kirby gets the ball stripped by oh my God, oh my goodness.
Erica Evangelista.
Evangelista, a name I struggled with all game long doing prep, and you helped me with it, John, and I just struggled reading it off the page there. It's Evangelista. I apologize to you.
You're still better than Barkley on name pronunciations, so.
Well, that doesn't say much, Johnny, as much as I'll take the compliment. Sir Charles is not my go-to for pronunciations. As Dender lays that ball in.
Lords putting together a good run here, Joey.
First real run of this half. 71 to 57 to score. Arthur Worthy gets the offensive rebound, looking for Dender. Dender comes in one-on-one on Deus. Misses her there as Dender gets that to fall. 30 seconds left on the clock. Lords have cut this deficit to just 12. Deus comes back up the court. She finds a teammate there, and a long three from Evangelista goes long, and that's going to be a Lords ball here on the out of bounds by the Huskies. 15.8 left on the clock. Both teams in the foul. Durham trying to cut this lead to single digits.
Yeah, if I'm the Lords, I get the ball in Arthur Worthy's hands right now, trying to get inside, maybe draw a foul.
Kirby drives there. Got a little bit of contact off Evangelista, but the Lords turn the ball over. Dender, deep three shot, clanks off the rim. That was Glendenning with the deep three. Ooh. Couldn't get it to go as Dender goes hard into the bleachers.
No time for a shot here, though, for the Huskies.
Now,
so
0.1 left on the clock, and but for the Lords, John, a solid last 2.5 minutes to end the half have cut this Huskies lead down to just 12. What did you like about the Lord's run there late in that quarter?
I liked something leading up to the run, and like I had hit on before, is the play of Keisha Arthurworthy. The team is trusting their big woman inside to body out and get those 2-pointers, get those and ones underneath the net, and that opened up more play for the likes of Dakota Kirby, Joey. So. And Maddie Dender. So, the Lords seem to be doing much better cohesively as a unit here. They need to build on this momentum, though, and come out firing in this final quarter. You said it. You predicted a possible comeback here, so I'll have to defer to you there. Only down 12, positive in that third quarter. No one would have thought that. They were down 13 coming into it, so +1.
+1, lots of time left, a whole quarter to play, and we've seen this Lord's team get hot offensively and start making shots. John, for me, what I think is going to be real interesting to see if Victoria Brodie comes back into this game. She saw her leave that third quarter frustrated. She picked up the technical foul. Her and Maddie Dender had a heated exchange on the sidelines, but Victoria Brodie is one of the deadliest shooters on this Lord's team, one of the most offensively talented players, and it'll be very interesting to see if Coach LaFontaine can look past the
jersey's still untucked for Brodie. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, John. It's just, if this Lord's team has any chance at completing the comeback here, I'd wager to say Victoria Brodie, Maddie Dender, and Kirby, Dakota Kirby that is, are going to be the key factors, as that's the top 3-point getters for the Lords all season long. And I don't think I'm out of my element in saying this, John. They need all 3 of those players to step up and have a huge fourth quarter if they have any chance at breaking this Huskies undefeated record. They sit at 6-0, trying to close out this game.
Yeah, if they do put Brodie back in this contest, as Arthurworthy again with a strong play, great pass by Maddie Dender. If they do put Brodie back in this game, if I was the Huskies, I would just body her up and make her lose her cool again, and then she'll be out of the game in a couple minutes because she'll get teed up because her fire is just too hot to handle sometimes.
The stands coming alive here at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center, home of the Durham Lords. And bad turnover there by Durham as Deus finds a way to get that ball, but can't find a way to get it to go, and that's really been the difference in the last part of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter here, John, is the Huskies unable to capitalize on Lord turnovers, and the Lords have found themselves back in this game. Here is Dakota Kirby driving the basket. Kirby is fouled, and she's going to shoot 2, and that is the first foul against the Huskies in this quarter. Both teams were in the bonus last quarter, John, and that's a good start for Kirby, who's going to shoot 2.
Yeah, making both these free throws is key here. You've got to get those free points. The reason they're called free throws, right?
For sure, John, and I know you're a stickler for making the easy, uncontested points, and free throws definitely at the top of that list. Kirby makes her first one here. She clanks the second one off, but a nice rebound there.
And they go right back to the line.
Glendenning's going to go to the line there as Grimaldo going to get the foul for the Huskies. It is a 11-point lead for the Huskies, John, and shooting 2 is Glendenning with an opportunity to cut this lead to single digits for the first time since late in the first quarter, early second quarter.
Yeah, man. What else? The other thing that's key is the Huskies now have 2 fouls in the first minute of this quarter. So if the Lords can force the Huskies into the bonus or into the penalty here, then that'll work well into their favor in forcing a comeback here.
You never know as Glendenning makes both of those. 64-73 the score. 9:03 left in this quarter. Lots of time, as you mentioned, John. And the Lords trying to steal a win from the Huskies at home. That layup missed there. Dender gets the rebound, but that's going to be a call against.
They're saying possession belonged to the Huskies there.
That's an interesting call, as it looks like Dender had it, John, but the official says no, as Arthurworthy picks up her play defensively. Deus with the long 3, that clanks out, And a mad scramble for the rebound picked up by the Huskies, but they can't get the ball to fall there as Wilson misplayed that rebound. Here comes Glendenning coming up the court. Glendenning to Dender. Dender gets that to fall. So there's a bit of contact, but no call as Mandy Dender has cut the Lord's lead, or the Huskies lead, to just 7.
That was a huge play there. It was great to see them work together and not play an ISO sort of situation, using your teammates and who are, she was in a much better position.
Sullivan gets that one to fall. Good defense by Arthurworthy, but sometimes when you're good, and Sullivan gets that to go for the Huskies. 75-66 the score now. Here is Kirby with it. Kirby looking for an option, gives it to Arthurworthy. Arthurworthy moves it over to Glendenning.
Shot clock's down to 7 seconds. They're going to have to get something up here.
Arthurworthy fouled as she lets that go, and another foul call against the Huskies, their third of the quarter. And Arthurworthy is going to come to the line for the second time inside the first 3 minutes of this fourth quarter. John,
got a frog in your throat there.
Apparently. First day back at class. I was talking a lot today, and now we're game one.
Yeah, we got a double header.
I'm tired, John. I got interrupted. My mid-afternoon nap got interrupted by school for the first time in 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks. But we don't need to complain about the strike anymore on these broadcasts, as Arthurworthy steps up and drains that one. The Lords have cut this Huskies lead to just 7.
Arthurworthy's going to take a sit on the bench here, but I don't think it's going to be for very long. Just a drink.
I would agree with you there, as she's been the hot hand. Does seem a little gassed as she's been on the court for a while, John, but I assume you're correct, and Coach LaFontaine will have her out there again shortly on the court for the Huskies.
Durham does well there. They just their first foul of the fourth quarter, so don't give up the easy points here. Make them earn it, right?
For sure. It's Wilson, Sullivan, Evangelina, Deus, and McDonald on the court for the Huskies, John. For the Lords, it's Dender, it's Kirby, it's Glendenning. We saw Chamberlain check in for Arthurworthy, and number 22, Caitlin Crookshank, with 7:40 left, trying to find something. As Coach LaFontaine's changed up the units a little bit here, as Dender sends a deep 3. Chamberlain with a nice rebound. She can't get it to fall, but the Lords have found a way to get the ball back. Dender from 3. That one clanks off the rim as well, but good rebounding there by Durham, as Emily Glendenning finds a way to put that ball in. Lords now trail by 5 after good offensive rebounding there from Glendenning. Huskies back the other way.
Chamberlain doesn't have the touch that Arthurworthy does underneath the net.
It's a turnover there from Sullivan, and that's going to be a foul shot there for the Lords. Emily Glendenning has come back from injury and making herself and her presence known here. She's going to shoot 2.
Make this a one-possession game. She makes them both, as that's the 4th foul now, and we still got 7 minutes left.
Lots of time in the quarter as the was kept looking at the clock, John, wondering when we'd see that 4th foul put up. It is, and they're 1 away from getting in the bonus, and the Lords have played extremely well in the first 3 minutes of this quarter and have found themselves right back in this ballgame.
And you know what? They've played extremely well since they've had Victoria Brodie off the court.
Victoria Brodie probably won't see the court the rest of this game, John. She doesn't look like she's going to come back in.
I mean, she's a great player, don't get me wrong, and you want that fire on your team, but some nights it's just a detriment.
Sometimes you gotta have role players step up, John, and that's exactly what Keisha Arthurworthy and Emily Glendenning have done in this game. Maddie Dender's been solid, Dakota Kirby's been okay. Victoria Brodie looks like she's found herself a permanent spot on the bench for the rest of this game, but Arthurworthy and Glendenning have really stepped up and shown their will to compete and have willed the Lords back into this game against the undefeated Huskies.
Yeah, I got a feeling our boy Zach down there at the scorer's table has been using the backspace button a lot after writing the story about this game, probably mostly through the 3rd quarter, and then the Lords have mounted quite the comeback here, so may have to be a full rewrite for him.
Yeah, always like Zach to be trying to get his work done early so he can get out of here. And Zach never stays until the end of the day. Him and his little red laptop, the HP Flip, or whatever he's got, wearing out the keyboards as the Lords trying to change the narrative.
Trying to hand George Brown their first L.
And Glendenning steps up and makes the first of 2 free throws. She makes the second one, and it is a one-possession game, John. 75-72 the score, and the crowd is really getting into it here as the Lords have fought their way back into this game. Huskies now with it in the offensive zone. Nice pass over to El Nado. El Nado gets that to fall as she comes into this game after the timeouts.
Yeah, she just got the roll on that one. You want them taking those low percentage shots, though.
Quickly up to Dender. Dender looked like she was fouled. No call. Here is Glendenning. Sends a long two, and Glendenning gets it to fall. Emily Glendenning in the last 4 points for the Lords as they found themselves down by 3.
And a sloppy play there by the Huskies as Dender comes away with the ball.
As I'm not quite sure how.
No call there. I don't know what's going on. There was contact on that shot, Joey.
As I must have missed the George Brown 2 points, John, as they come back up the other way. Deas misses there. A nice rebound from Chamberlain, who's come off the bench in this quarter and has done excellent below the rim, coming in for Arthurworthy.
Yeah, she's doing her job. She's collecting those boards, man. She doesn't have the touch under the rim that Arthurworthy does, but she can definitely get inside.
Glendenning gets that one.
And just as I say that, man.
She heard you, Johnny, as she kisses that one off the backboard to fall. Lords trail by 1. Deas comes back up the court, looking for Eltano, has the ball, but then it's Sullivan who can't get that to fall, and Sullivan, who's well over 20 points on the day, misses that one from inside the paint.
The Lords could take their first lead on this possession.
Comes up the court, and Dakota Kirby, just like you said, John, gives the Lords a 78-77 lead. For the first time all game long, the Lords find themselves ahead over the Huskies. As the Huskies miss a shot there, Kirby hits that ball out of bounds, grabbed by Coach Warren Williams of the Huskies as they find themselves trailing here 5-12. And no matter what happens here tonight, John, the Lords showing lots of grit and grind, getting themselves back into this game. A deep three taken by Deas, and she puts the Huskies back up top. And Deas trying to find herself and trying to find the offensive form that the Huskies had earlier in this game. Dender from 3 in the corner. She makes it. Maddie Dender
answering that 3, man.
Gives the Lords a 1-point lead as ice cold blue shoes Maddie Dender doesn't even hesitate there to put the Lords back up over the Huskies. Deas takes a 3 of her own. That clanks off the rim and over the basket. And the Lords are going to get the throw in here, out of bounds on the Huskies.
Go hard inside on this play. Go hard inside, try and draw that 5th foul, get him in the penalty, and let's build this lead. That's what they need to do right now.
Dender moves it over to Glendenning. Glendenning up to Kirby. Kirby finds Chamberlain. Back up to Crookshank. Here is Glendenning with it. Glendenning, who's been so hot all game long, moves it over to Kirby. Kirby to Chamberlain.
7 seconds here.
As Chamberlain misses on that, and the Huskies come back up the other way. Deas moves it over to Sullivan. Sullivan drives the basket hard. He can't get it to go, but Huskies get the rebound as Altado gets that shot. Was that a 3, John?
That was a 3.
It was. As the Huskies now up by 2, 83 to 81. And a nice pass there by Dender, but Chamberlain can't hang on to it. And it's going to be
Husky ball.
Husky ball. As Chamberlain tried to rip that right out of the hands of the Husky player, but unable to do so there as Maddie Dender found her on a nice pass. And it's going to be a timeout here. Couldn't tell who called it, John, but both teams going to catch their breath, and so are we with the Lords and the Huskies all of a sudden in a battle here with just under 4 minutes left, John. Huskies leading by 2.
And what's key here is that the Lords have only given up 1 foul in this quarter to the Huskies 4. So I think that's going to play a big role in the last 4 minutes of this contest. They've gotten a lot of energy back, and you can tell that the Huskies are back on their heels, trying to force those big 3 balls to extend their lead here. And you know what? I'll take those shots. Yeah, they're going down right now, but they'll go down more infrequently, and you'll be able to get the rebounds. So good on the Lords getting on the Huskies and forcing them to take those shots. I think we're going to see Arthur Worthy back in this game, though, out of this timeout.
Would not surprise me at all to see Arthur Worthy back in here, John. The Lords have only broken the 80
Shows what I know.
plateau.
She's sitting back down.
Has only broken the 80-point plateau twice all season long, both of those coming in wins. In the season opener right here versus Centennial and at Algonquin, they put up 92.
Oh no, it's going to be Lord's ball.
As the Lords going to take it here, they certainly won't complain. It's going to be Crookshank here with the throw, and she finds Chamberlain. She quickly moves it over to Glendenning. Glendenning working hard against Sullivan. Sullivan unrelenting on the D. Moves it under to Chamberlain down low. Back to Kirby. Kirby drives, looking for Dender. As a 3-ball taken by Crookshank is blocked by the Huskies. Shot clock runs out, and it's going to be Husky ball.
Unfortunate for the Lords, as I don't think they would have had enough time, even if there was a second on the shot clock, to get a shot up at on the out of bounds. So, yeah, forced shot there, but we'll take it.
Off the timeout, the Lords run out of time, and the Huskies, who lead by 2, come back up the court. Here's McDonald. McDonald moves it over, and a 2 there made by Grimaldo, the Ajax, Ontario native.
They need to put this play inside. They need to get that 5th foul on the Huskies so they can get to the line.
As Dender jacks a 3 from deep, and that doesn't go, but it's going to be a ball out of bounds off the Huskies. And the Lords are going to have an opportunity to do just as you said, John, and get working down low and hopefully draw this 5th foul, as the Huskies are 1 away from being called for their 5th, and the Lords going into the bonus. As a bad pass there by Crookshank is intercepted by the Huskies, reminiscent of early in this game. Quick ball movement by the Huskies underneath the rim. Can't get it to fall. Was Grimaldo, and the Lords take advantage, come back up the court. Another lob pass, John, something that they had gotten away from so well on their run happens again, and the Huskies, who have been so quick on the ball defensively, find a way to get the ball back here, and there's going to be a bit of a confusion as who touched the ball last. Originally it was called on the Lords.
Lord's ball, that's what I was going to say. That was out on George Brown for sure.
Originally the George Brown bench erupted. All the hometown fans are not happy with that, as the intensity kicks up here. Durham down by 4 to the visiting George Brown Huskies. And the ball is thrown in here by Crookshank. Crookshank to Dender. Maddie Denver kicks it over to Dakota Kirby at the top. Here is Kirby. Shot clock running out here. Only 5 seconds left. Kirby goes to the basket hard and blocked.
All ball on that one. That's a good block.
That's an excellent block there by Ellen Toe. And that ball is just hit off the hand of Emerly Chamberlain, John. And the Huskies are going to have a throw in here.
I got to wonder when we're going to see Arthur Worthy off the bench here. Chamberlain's done a good job coming back in, subbing in for her, but I don't know. I think you got to bring her off the bench soon.
She was so hot before she came out of the game. Interesting to see what Coach LaFontaine does here, as Altano gets that ball to fall, and she does a good job there driving through. Lords come back up the other way.
Here she comes.
Arthur Worthy is up, getting ready to come into the game. It's Glendenning with it now. She kicks it to Dender. Dender from 3, and she gets it. Maddie
from the
Dender.
Bottom of the well there, Joey. What a great shot.
Maddie Dender gets that to fall. The Lords now down by 3. Back up the other way. Here's Deas with it. She sends it all the way across the court. Sullivan can't control the ball there as Kirby tries to find Denver on a long pass, but can't connect there.
Just a little too strong.
Has a little too much power on that ball for sure, John. And just too much on it as Maddie Denver couldn't catch up to it. The Lords trail 87-84 on what was probably a missed opportunity there, John, as the Lords had a little bit more time than that, but Kirby looked to rush that throw.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think they have more time to make that pass because all of the Huskies, except for one, were in the front court. So,
as a deep two, I think, taken there by the Huskies. It was a two as McDonald gets that to fall to extend the lead to 5. Just under $1:30 left in this game. Arthurworthy back into the game and gets her hand on it. Navarro back in as well. Back up to Arthurworthy. Arthurworthy has it. She dribbles, sends it over to Navarro. Navarro steps back, looking for Arthurworthy underneath the basket, but Alicia Navarro misplays that ball as it's too far for Arthurworthy. 1:12 left on the clock here. Lords trail by 5. Sullivan going to throw this ball in for the Huskies. She gives it to Deus, who gives it right back. So they're going to be happy to kill time off this clock here. 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Sullivan takes a shot but can't get it to go, and the Lords quickly up the other way. Here is Dender. Dender steps back beyond the arc. Dender for 3, and Maddie Dender just misses that one, but the Lords
she didn't set up for that one.
Kirby gets the ball back. She moves it to Arthurworthy. Arthurworthy down low to Navarro. Navarro driving hard. Navarro steps back, finds Kirby. Kirby from the top of the key, and Kirby can't get that to fall, but she gets her own rebound. Arthurworthy gets her rebound, and Arthurworthy gets it to fall.
33 seconds here. You're going to have to play tight defense.
Lords need a stop here defensively. Can't allow points, down by 3, less than 30 seconds on the clock. Ball's kicked underneath the basket, and Kirby's going to get the call there as Grimaldo's going to go up and get the layup and one. 24.4 left on the clock. Grimaldo trying to make this a 3-point play.
Oh, that was a rough one for the Lords, but you know they really only put themselves in this position by playing the way they played for the first 3 quarters of the game. Joey, fantastic ability to show a comeback, but it's looking less and less likely at this point that they're going to be able to get the points, especially seeing as George Brown has been able to stay away from getting that 5th foul, and that's got to be on the Lords for not going inside more.
Yeah, for sure, John. You talked about it for really the last 7 minutes here. While the Lords have had an opportunity to get themselves into the bonus, we've seen a lot of outside shooting, and after 4 quick fouls by the Huskies to begin this 4th quarter, 2 inside the first minute, Durham really hasn't been able to capitalize, and now with only 24 seconds left on the clock, anything can happen. But you're right, John, looking more and more less likely that this miracle comeback will be complete. But anything can happen here. The Lords going to be down by a minimum 5 with 24 left on the clock. It's going to depend on what happens here at the line as the Huskies are going to shoot 1. It will be Grimaldo shooting it, John, as Durham has found themselves into this game at a halfway through. We thought this was going to be an utter blowout, so all the credit to them for getting this game competitive and finding a way to get this home crowd back into it. And they have 24 seconds left to really get this home crowd on their feet in game 1 of this basketball doubleheader. Yeah,
and to be in the mind of Victoria Brodie right now, be thinking, what must she be thinking right now? Because that would it would be great to have had her for the last 7 minutes.
And here is Glendenning for 3. She can't get it to go. Lots of threes here for the Lords. Dender kicks it back out to Kirby. Kirby moves it over to
taking
Glendenning.
Too long.
That ball's going to be Durham Lords' ball, but only 9.8 left on the clock as the Huskies' unrelenting defense continues to give the Lords trouble as it's done all game long. Kirby trying to look for an option on the throw-in. Finds Dender on the run. Given to Glendenning. Deep 3 taken here.
And that's going to be the game.
Ball as Kirby can't get that one to go. And none other than April Deus who gets the rebound for the Huskies, John, as really the defensive MVP for the Huskies, wraps it up defensively. And the Lords do everything they can to make this game close, but fall 92-86 here at home.
Yeah, it would have been awesome to have your full complement of starters out there for the last 5 minutes, like I touched on before the last 30 seconds there. So Victoria Brodie, I get the fire, I get that you're intense, but you need to learn to be able to control those emotions. Be calm. Don't go at the referees like that. I understand sometimes it's hard when you're not getting the calls that you're used to getting, but yeah, This one strictly falls in the lap of the Lords for playing poorly in the first 3 quarters.
The next Lords home game will be right here, or their home game, of course, will be right here, John, but it will be on Friday, November 24th, taking on the St. Lawrence. John and I will be here on the call. And that's going to be it for the first game of this doubleheader. The men's teams for the Huskies and the Lords will take place in just over 20 minutes' time. As for the women's game, the Lords fall to the Huskies 92-86. They find a way to make it close but can't pull it out. We'll be right back in just over 20 minutes time for game 2. For John Lodge, I'm Joey Chapman. We'll be right back.